Stop everything you are doing right now. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb. Close every single other tab on your browser. Turn up the volume and listen to me very carefully because the Coachella Valley in Southern California is currently under absolute siege. If you thought you knew what the atmosphere at the BNP Paribas Open was supposed to feel like, I need you to take that preconceived notion, crumble it up, and throw it completely out the window. We are not talking about polite golf claps. We are not talking about quiet country club tennis where fans sip champagne in silence. We are talking about an absolute unprecedented earth-shaking ticket frenzy that has crashed secondary markets, overloaded servers, and sent tournament organizers into a total logistical panic. And the catalyst for all of this beautiful chaos is one single 20-year-old woman, Alex Eala, has officially touched down in the California desert, and she has brought the entire global Filipino diaspora with her. The reports we are getting out of Indian Wells right now are absolutely staggering. Tickets for the specific sessions where Aya is even projected to step onto the court are vanishing into thin air. The prestigious tennis paradise in the desert has been completely and utterly hijacked by the Alex Eala effect, and the traditional tennis establishment is sitting back in absolute awe of what is unfolding right in front of their eyes. To truly understand why the box office is exploding right now and why the secondary ticket market is seeing prices skyrocket to levels usually reserved for the finals of a Grand Slam, you have to look at what the actual legends of the sport are saying behind closed doors and on the open microphone just days ago on the incredibly popular Nothing Major podcast. Retired ATP powerhouses Sam Querrey, John Nuh, and Steve Johnson dedicated a massive segment to this exact phenomenon. Let us put this into perspective for a second. These are guys who have played on the biggest center courts in the entire world. They have played Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic. They have seen everything there is to see in professional tennis. And yet, they were completely blown away by what they are witnessing with Alex Eala. Sam Querrey point-blank asked the question that every marketing executive, every sponsor, and every tournament director in the Women's Tennis Association is currently thinking, is Alex Eala the biggest draw in women's tennis right now on a global scale? Steve Johnson did not even hesitate to answer. He said yes. He described the crowds that flocked to see her in Australia and the massive mobs in Dubai as standing room only, calling the level of attention around her insane and absolutely massive. When former top-tier American men's players, guys who usually focus heavily on the ATP, are dedicating their podcast time to analyzing the sheer crowd-pulling power of a 20-year-old Filipina on the WTA Tour. You know with absolute certainty that the paradigm of the sport has fundamentally shifted. They noted that the energy surrounding her isn't just a local phenomenon. It is a massive global mobilization of Filipinos who pour into these stadiums to support their national hero. And now she is stepping into Southern California, an area that proudly boasts one of the largest, most vibrant, and most passionate Filipino-American populations on the entire planet. If the stadiums were standing room only in the Middle East, Indian Wells is going to need to physically build extra bleachers just to accommodate the demand. But let us be absolutely clear about one extremely important thing. This ticket frenzy is not just based on national pride or cultural representation. It is based on cold, hard, undeniable dominance on the tennis court. Alexa is not showing up to the 5th Grand Slam as a cute media story or a lucky wild card entry hoping to scrape together a few games. She is arriving in California as an absolute apex predator following her historic giant-slaying run to the quarterfinals at the WTA 1000 event in Dubai, where she sent the world number 7 Jasmine Paolini packing in a match that literally shook the stadium. Eala has skyrocketed up the computer rankings to a career high of world number 31. Do you know what that number actually means in the context of the Indian Wells draw? It means she has officially earned a first-round bye. She does not have to grind through the opening days of the tournament. She does not have to play a desperate qualifier who is fighting for their life. She gets to sit back, rest her legs, analyze the draw with her coaching staff from the Rafa Nadal Academy, and wait for her prey in the round of 64. She has cracked the absolute elite echelon of the sport, becoming a seeded player at a 1000-level event for the first time in her entire professional career. She has forced the WTA computer to mathematically recognize what her most die-hard fans have known all along. She is a top-tier world-class threat who possesses the firepower and the tactical genius to beat absolutely anyone on any given day. And if you need any more proof that the massive corporate world is fully aware of her immense power, look at what she did before she even set foot in the desert to hit a practice ball. While other players were grinding away on the practice courts, sweating in the sun, Alex Eala was being treated like absolute global royalty at the Nike World headquarters in Beaverton, Oregon. She did not just get a standard corporate tour. She got a personalized red carpet welcome from the biggest, wealthiest sportsier giant on planet Earth. Nike literally plastered massive posters of the biggest moments of her career all over the walls of their legendary campus. They created a massive, stunning visual display inspired by the Stampede, the beautiful national flower of the Philippines, just to honor her heritage and make her feel at home. Nike understands the math better than anyone. They see the sold-out stadiums. They track the social media engagement numbers. They see the merchandise flying off the shelves. They know that Alex Eala is the ultimate, incredibly lucrative bridge between the Western sports machine and the massive, largely untapped potential of the Asian market. They are strapping a metaphorical rocket to her back because they know she is the absolute future face of their global tennis division. When a company like Nike rolls out that kind of treatment, it sends a terrifying message to the rest of the tour. So, what does this mean for the actual tournament playing out in the California desert? It means the tournament directors and the scheduling committee at Indian Wells are facing a terrifying, beautiful logistical nightmare. Usually early round matches for newly seeded players are scheduled on the smaller outer courts places like Court 4 or Court 6. But you cannot put Alex Eala on an outside court. It is a physical impossibility. If you put her on an outside court, the thousands upon thousands of fans who are currently flooding the ticket gates, buying up every pass they can find, will literally overrun the facility. The sheer volume of human beings desperate to get a glimpse of her heavy left-handed forehand demands that she be placed on Stadium 1 or Stadium 2. She is forcing the organizers to treat her with the exact same level of scheduling respect that they give to an Igatech or an Arena Sabalenka. She is a certified main event attraction. And for the player who has the unfortunate, incredibly bad luck of drawing her in the second round, they are walking into an absolute psychological meat grinder. Imagine being a professional tennis player on the WTA Tour. You train your whole life. You sacrifice your childhood. You fly all the way to California. You step out from the tunnel onto the hard court. And suddenly you realize that 15,000 people in the stands are actively, passionately, and loudly praying for your downfall. Every single time you miss a first serve, the crowd erupts in cheers. Every time Alex Eala hits a clean winner down the line, the stadium literally shakes beneath your feet. We saw Coco Gauff, the reigning U.S. Open champion and one of the most mentally tough players on the planet, admit in her Dubai press conference that she had to mentally trick herself into believing the crowd was chanting her own name just to survive the suffocating mental warfare of playing against the Alex Eala fanbase. Now I want you to multiply that loud Dubai crowd by 10. Inject them with the brilliant California sunshine and put them inside the massive echoing bowl of the Indian Wells tennis garden. That is what her opponents are facing. It is an overwhelming, suffocating, relentless wall of sound. And Eala feeds off it. She does not shrink under the crushing pressure of her countrymen. She absorbs it. She channels their energy, their grit, their struggles, and their immense pride. And she turns it all into absolute baseline violence. The tactical matchup here is also incredibly fascinating and cannot be ignored. The courts at Indian Wells are notoriously unique. They are hard courts, yes, but the ball grips the surface and the desert air makes the ball fly, creating a very slow, gritty, high-bouncing environment. These conditions perfectly flawlessly reward players who use heavy top spin, who uses heavy top spin better than a left-handed prodigy trained at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca. No one. These slow courts are basically built in a laboratory for Alexa's game style. She can stand at the baseline, dictate the geometry of the court, rip that massive looping forehand cross-court, and push her opponents so far back into the California fence that they need a map to find the net. The heavy hitters who rely on flat driving shots are going to find their balls sitting upright in Eala's strike zone. It is a tactical nightmare for anyone on the other side of the net. The stakes for this specific tournament are astronomical. But uniquely, Alex Eala is playing with absolute house money. Because this is her highly anticipated debut at the BNP Paribas Open, she has absolutely zero ranking points to defend from last year's calendar. She has nothing to lose. Every single match she wins, every single round she advances is pure, unadulterated profit for her WTA ranking. She has a massive towering mountain to climb later this month at the Miami Open on the other side of the country, where she has to defend 390 points from her legendary wild card semifinal run last year. But here in Indian Wells, here in the desert, Here she can swing freely. She can take massive risks. She can go after her passing shots and her aggressive returns without the suffocating anxiety of dropping in the computer rankings. And let me tell you, a fearless, unburdened Alexi is the most dangerous version of Alexi that exists. If she can string together a few statement wins on these slow, gritty hard courts, she could easily shatter the barrier of the top 20 before the month of March is even over. But this story, this absolute phenomenon, is so much bigger than ranking points, prize money, or even Grand Slam aspirations. What we are witnessing right now in the California desert is a massive cultural movement cleverly disguised as a professional tennis tournament. For decades, the elite sport of tennis has been desperately searching for ways to diversify its aging audience, to bring new younger fans into the stadiums, and to finally break out of the stuffy elitist country club stereotype. Alex is achieving that completely single-handedly. She is bringing grandmothers, teenagers, hard-working overseas workers, and die-hard casual sports fans into the tennis ecosystem for the very first time. She is proving to the massive corporate sponsors that representation genuinely matters. When she steps onto the court, laces up her Nike shoes, and grips her bobble racket, she isn't just representing herself, her coaching staff, or her sponsors. She is carrying the flag for over 100 million people who finally have a transcendent, undeniable superstar they can proudly call their own. The ticket frenzy in Indian Wells isn't just about watching two people hit a yellow fuzzy ball back and forth over a net. It is about people desperately wanting to be in the building when history is written. It is about wanting to look back 10-15 years from now when Alex Eala is holding up multiple Grand Slam trophies at Wimbledon and Roland Garros and saying, "I was there. I was in the stands when she completely took over the desert and put the whole world on notice." The established old guard order of the WTA is officially on notice. The defending champion Mara Andrea, the world number 1 Arena Sabalenka, the clay court queen, Igas, and the entire top 10 are sitting in their hotel rooms watching the ticket sales explode, listening to the podcasts and realizing with a sinking feeling that the power dynamic of the tour is violently shifting beneath their feet. The Alex Eala era is no longer a bold prediction for the distant future. It is the absolute terrifying reality of the present moment. The coveted first round bye is secured. Her legs are rested and fresh. The Nike armor is firmly on. The tactical game plan from her elite coaching staff is set. And her massive loyal army of fans is mobilizing at the gates, ready to turn the Coachella Valley into Manila. I absolutely need to hear from every single one of you watching or listening to this deep dive right now. If you live in California or if you are flying in from out of state, did you manage to secure a ticket to this absolute madness? Or are you locked out by the unprecedented ticket frenzy and the insane secondary market prices? How far do you genuinely truly believe Alex Eala can go in this tournament now that she is officially a seeded player with a massive advantage of a first-round bye? Do you think the famously slow, high-bouncing hard courts of Indian Wells will give her the ultimate tactical advantage against the traditional heavy flat hitters of the WTA? And how do you think her first opponent is going to handle the deafening roar of 15,000 fans screaming against them? I want you to drop your boldest predictions, your exact scorelines, and your absolute loudest, proudest support in the comment section below, because the YouTube algorithm needs to see the raw, unmatched power of this fan base. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel right now, and turn on the notification bell so you do not miss a single second of our extensive wall-to-wall coverage. We are going to be tracking every single top spin forehand, every single crucial match point, and every single historic moment as Alexandra Eala prepares to set the California desert on absolute fire. The long wait is finally over. The 5th Grand Slam is here. The draw is set and the new queen of the courts has officially arrived.